Have you ever paused to reflect on the nature of life and noticed how fleeting everything truly is? From the moment we are born, life begins its constant flow, moving through phases that we cannot control, shaping us in ways both visible and invisible. Buddha, born as Siddhartha Gautama in 566 BC, spent his life seeking to understand this very impermanence. Born into privilege in Lumbini, Nepal, he experienced all comforts of wealth and status, yet he was deeply unsettled by the suffering he observed in the world around him. At the age of 29, he chose to leave behind the safety and security of his aristocratic life, embarking on a journey to uncover the root of suffering and the path to true liberation. Through years of rigorous practice and self-reflection, Buddha discovered that the answers to life's deepest questions did not lie in material possessions or extreme asceticism, but in the mind itself. His enlightenment revealed a profound truth: everything in existence is impermanent, ever-changing, and subject to decay. This principle, known as Annica, forms one of the three marks of existence, alongside Duhkha, suffering, and Anatta, non-self. Annica teaches us that nothing in life remains constant, not our bodies, our relationships, our emotions, or even the world around us. By acknowledging this impermanence, we gain the ability to see life more clearly, to accept change without resistance, and to approach existence with wisdom rather than attachment. In this video, we will explore the nature of impermanence and its relevance to modern life. Using illustrative stories, practical examples, and philosophical insights, we will learn how to recognize change, practice non-attachment, embrace life's inevitable transformations, and extract wisdom from every experience. By understanding and internalizing the impermanent nature of existence, we can reduce suffering, cultivate inner peace, and navigate life with greater clarity, resilience, and compassion. This journey into Annica is not merely an abstract concept, it is a practical guide to living fully in a world that is constantly changing. Buddha's philosophy is a profound exploration of human existence, suffering, and the path to liberation. At the core of his teachings lies a deep understanding of the nature of reality, articulated through what is known as the three marks of existence: Annica, impermanence; Duhkha, suffering; and Anatta, non-self. These principles are not mere abstract concepts but practical frameworks to help individuals understand the human condition, observe life with clarity, and cultivate wisdom. Annica, or impermanence, emphasizes that all conditioned phenomena, our bodies, relationships, material possessions, and experiences, are transient. Nothing in life is permanent, and recognizing this truth allows us to reduce attachment and emotional suffering. Without acknowledging the impermanent nature of things, humans often cling to experiences, objects, and relationships in a futile attempt to maintain stability in a world that is inherently unstable. Duhkha, often translated as suffering or dissatisfaction, is the natural consequence of clinging to what is impermanent. Buddha observed that life is filled with challenges, losses, and changes, and that resisting these realities leads to emotional pain. By understanding the inevitability of dukkha, one develops a mindset of acceptance and equanimity, rather than frustration and resentment. Buddha's insight was revolutionary for his time. Instead of seeking to control life's uncontrollable elements, he advocated cultivating awareness, mindfulness, and detachment as tools to navigate the human experience. The third mark, Anatta, challenges the conventional notion of a permanent self. Buddha taught that the idea of a fixed, unchanging identity is an illusion. Our thoughts, emotions, bodies, and experiences are in constant flux, continuously reshaping who we are moment by moment. Recognizing Anatta frees us from ego-driven attachments and fears, allowing us to live more authentically and harmoniously. Together, these three marks provide a framework to understand suffering, change, and the fluidity of self, offering a path to liberation known as Nirvana. By internalizing these principles, individuals can navigate life with a sense of balance, compassion, and awareness, embracing change rather than resisting it. In essence, Buddha's philosophy is both timeless and deeply practical. It does not promise a life free from challenges but equips us with the understanding and tools to face them wisely. By reflecting on the three marks of existence, we begin to see that suffering arises not from external circumstances alone, but from our attachment, misunderstanding, and resistance to the fundamental truths of life. In today's fast-paced, constantly evolving world, these teachings are more relevant than ever, offering guidance for living with clarity, resilience, and inner peace. Stories have always been one of the most powerful ways to convey philosophical truths, and in the teachings of Buddha, they serve as mirrors reflecting the nature of existence. One of the most instructive stories illustrating impermanence is the tale of Kisa Gautami, a grieving mother who lost her child. Desperate to bring her son back to life, she approached Buddha, hoping he could provide a miraculous solution. Instead of offering a direct answer, Buddha asked her to collect mustard seeds from a household where no one had ever experienced loss. As she traveled from house to house, she realized that every family, every home, had faced death and suffering. This journey was not only literal but symbolic. It demonstrated the universal nature of impermanence, showing that loss, change, and transformation are inevitable parts of life. Through this story, Buddha taught a profound lesson. Grief is a natural response to impermanence, but understanding that suffering is shared and inevitable allows individuals to cultivate acceptance and resilience. Beyond traditional stories, impermanence can be observed in countless real-life examples. Consider a river. It may appear constant and unchanging, yet the water flowing in it is never the same from one moment to the next. Similarly, every aspect of human life is in continuous flux. Relationships evolve, people age, careers change, and circumstances shift. The city around us transforms daily, new buildings arise, old streets disappear, and social dynamics shift in subtle ways. Even our internal world, our thoughts, emotions, and desires, never remain static. By observing these patterns carefully, one can gain a direct understanding of Annica in action, witnessing impermanence not as a philosophical abstraction but as a lived reality. Impermanence is also evident in the small, everyday moments that often go unnoticed. A conversation with a friend today may never be repeated in the same way tomorrow. A moment of joy may pass, giving way to challenge or sorrow. Opportunities emerge and vanish, and even physical health fluctuates over time. Recognizing these realities does not promote pessimism, rather, it encourages presence, gratitude, and mindful engagement with life. By observing impermanence through both stories and lived experience, we learn that resistance to change is the root of suffering, while acceptance fosters wisdom, compassion, and equanimity. Ultimately, these examples, both narrative and observational, serve as invitations to reflect on life's transient nature. By internalizing the truth of impermanence, individuals can develop a mindset that embraces change, lets go of rigid attachments, and finds serenity amidst life's inevitable fluctuations. Understanding impermanence is not merely an intellectual exercise, it is a practical, transformative approach to living, guiding us toward greater peace, clarity, and fulfillment in every moment. Annica, the Buddhist concept of impermanence, is one of the most profound insights into the nature of reality, offering a lens through which we can understand the constant flux of life. Everything in existence, our bodies, relationships, possessions, emotions, and even the material world, is subject to change. Nothing remains static, everything is in continuous transformation. This understanding is central to Buddha's teachings, as it helps us recognize the futility of clinging to what is transient. When we resist change, we create unnecessary suffering for ourselves, because life, by its very nature, cannot be frozen or controlled. Observing Annica closely allows us to see that even what appears permanent is only a temporary arrangement of conditions, constantly dissolving and reforming in new forms. The river metaphor perfectly illustrates this. Although the river may appear the same, its water is never identical from moment to moment. Similarly, the air we breathe, the trees we see, and the people around us are in a state of perpetual transformation. Understanding this truth deeply changes our perception of life, helping us cultivate patience, resilience, and wisdom. Annica is not limited to the natural world, it is equally applicable to human life. Our bodies age, our minds evolve, and our relationships are continuously shifting. Emotions and thoughts, which often seem so solid in the moment, dissolve and give rise to new experiences. Birth, growth, illness, and death are universal phenomena that reflect impermanence in its most visible form. Even our social and professional environments are subject to change. Colleagues leave, careers evolve, cities expand, and societies transform. Observing these patterns in daily life reveals that no matter how much we try to preserve stability, change is inevitable.
Buddha's teachings encourage us to embrace this truth, not with fear or resignation, but with mindfulness and insight. By internalizing Annica, we learn to navigate life with equanimity, letting go of attachments that no longer serve us and appreciating the fleeting moments of joy, connection, and beauty as they arise.
The principle of Annica also helps us understand the transient nature of suffering and happiness. Life is a succession of experiences, some pleasant, some challenging, but none permanent. A setback in one area may lead to growth in another, a joyful moment may fade, but it opens space for new experiences. Recognizing impermanence allows us to respond to life more effectively. Instead of resisting change, we observe it, accept it, and adapt to it, cultivating emotional flexibility. Meditation and mindfulness practices are essential tools in this process, allowing us to witness the constant flow of sensations, thoughts, and events without attachment or aversion. In doing so, we train ourselves to experience life fully while remaining grounded in the awareness that nothing is fixed. Ultimately, Annica is not a source of despair but a guide to liberation, teaching us to flow with life, embrace its uncertainties, and find freedom in the awareness of change. By deeply understanding Annica, we also gain perspective on relationships, material possessions, and personal achievements. Human bonds are precious precisely because they are impermanent. Appreciating this impermanence deepens our gratitude, empathy, and love. Similarly, possessions and accomplishments, while temporarily useful, cannot provide lasting fulfillment, and clinging to them only leads to frustration. Recognizing the impermanent nature of these aspects of life encourages us to focus on inner development, ethical living, and meaningful engagement with the world. In essence, the deep dive into Annica transforms our worldview, from one dominated by fear, attachment, and resistance, to one characterized by awareness, adaptability, and a profound appreciation for the ever-changing flow of existence. Understanding impermanence is only valuable if we apply it in daily life. Buddha's teachings on Annica provide practical guidance to navigate the constant changes of existence with wisdom, resilience, and compassion. The first step is to acknowledge change consciously. Most suffering arises from resisting life's natural flow, wanting situations, people, or emotions to remain unchanged. By observing change as inevitable and universal, we cultivate a mindset that embraces transformation rather than fearing it. Meditation and mindfulness exercises are particularly effective. By focusing on our breath, bodily sensations, and transient thoughts, we experience impermanence firsthand. This practice gradually trains us to accept the fluidity of life, making it easier to respond calmly to challenges, losses, and uncertainties. The second principle is non-attachment. Buddha emphasized that suffering often stems from clinging to people, possessions, or ideas that are impermanent. Non-attachment does not mean indifference or emotional detachment, rather, it means engaging fully with life without letting external circumstances control our inner peace. For example, loving someone in a non-attached way allows us to care deeply while respecting their autonomy and understanding that relationships evolve. Similarly, goals, careers, and material possessions can be pursued passionately without becoming sources of suffering, by recognizing that they are tools, not ultimate sources of identity or happiness. Non-attachment cultivates freedom and flexibility, enabling us to navigate life with clarity and purpose. The third practical step is to embrace change actively. Resistance often magnifies pain, whereas acceptance allows for adaptive responses. When unexpected situations arise, whether in personal life, relationships, or work, seeing them as opportunities for learning transforms difficulties into growth. For instance, a sudden job change or loss of a relationship, though initially painful, can open doors to new experiences, skills, and connections.
Embracing change fosters resilience, creativity, and the ability to find solutions rather than being paralyzed by fear. Life, when approached in this way, becomes a dynamic journey rather than a static struggle. Finally, we must learn from every experience, viewing both challenges and successes as teachers.
Every interaction, every setback, and every victory provides insight into ourselves and the world. By reflecting on experiences, extracting lessons, and applying them in future situations, we cultivate wisdom and emotional intelligence. Even difficult circumstances carry hidden blessings, whether through personal growth, strengthened relationships, or enhanced understanding. Applying these four principles, acknowledging change, practicing non-attachment, embracing transformation, and learning from experience, allows us to live in alignment with the impermanent nature of existence. This not only reduces suffering but also fosters inner peace, adaptability, and a deeper appreciation for the beauty and fluidity of life. In embracing change consciously, we unlock the transformative power of Annica, allowing life's constant motion to become a source of growth, fulfillment, and liberation. The journey of understanding impermanence is not merely an intellectual exercise, it is a practical path toward living a more conscious, balanced, and fulfilling life. Buddha's teachings on Annica invite us to cultivate awareness of the ever-changing nature of existence and to develop an attitude of acceptance, adaptability, and insight. By observing the transient nature of our thoughts, emotions, relationships, and surroundings, we begin to realize that clinging to permanence is futile. Every moment, whether joyful or challenging, offers a lesson in the impermanent rhythm of life. Awareness of this truth allows us to approach each day with clarity, presence, and gratitude, transforming ordinary experiences into opportunities for growth and reflection. By practicing mindfulness, meditation, and self-reflection, we cultivate the ability to witness life as it unfolds, responding thoughtfully rather than reacting impulsively to change. This conscious engagement fosters inner peace, reducing anxiety, fear, and suffering that arise from resistance to life's natural flow. Living with awareness also enhances our capacity for compassion and empathy. When we recognize that all beings experience change, loss, and uncertainty, we develop a deeper understanding of others' struggles. Impermanence reminds us that just as we face challenges, so do the people around us, encouraging patience, kindness, and support. This awareness extends to relationships, teaching us to value connection while respecting the natural evolution of bonds.
Non-attachment in relationships does not imply indifference, rather, it enables us to love fully without possessiveness, jealousy, or expectation, allowing others the freedom to grow while maintaining our own equanimity. By embracing change in both ourselves and others, we nurture healthier, more authentic connections built on mutual respect, understanding, and presence.
Moreover, Integrating the principle of Annica into daily life encourages adaptability and resilience. Life is unpredictable, and unexpected events are inevitable. By accepting impermanence as a fundamental truth, we cultivate the mental and emotional flexibility necessary to navigate challenges with wisdom and composure. Instead of being overwhelmed by uncertainty, we learn to respond constructively, seeking solutions, learning lessons, and finding opportunity even in adversity. Failures, losses, and disappointments are no longer sources of despair but teachers guiding us toward personal growth, creativity, and insight. Similarly, moments of success, joy, and abundance are appreciated fully, not clung to as permanent states, fostering gratitude and presence rather than dependency or complacency. Ultimately, living with awareness and inner peace is the practice of flowing with life, understanding that every experience, pleasant or painful, is temporary, shaping us, teaching us, and propelling us forward. By acknowledging change, practicing non-attachment, embracing transformation, and learning from every experience, we align ourselves with the natural rhythm of existence. This alignment brings liberation from unnecessary suffering and empowers us to live more authentically, fully, and meaningfully. Life, when approached with mindfulness and insight into its impermanent nature, becomes a continuous journey of growth, discovery, and serenity. In embracing the flow of change, we find not only freedom but also a profound sense of inner peace, allowing us to navigate the world with wisdom, compassion, and unwavering presence in every fleeting moment.